So there's a brand new budget laptop in town, and I can't believe it's from Apple. That's right, the company that was once known for selling a $700 pack of computer wheels actually created what many are saying is the new king of budget laptops. And however you feel about the MacBook Neo, there's no denying that this machine is going to shake up the world of low-end laptops. Ever since it came out, the tech press has been asking the question, how are PC manufacturers going to respond to this thing? What is going to be the next Windows budget king to go head-to-head with the MacBook Neo? Well, today I want to find out if the answer to that question is the MacBook Neo. Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. So just to get a couple things out of the way, this episode is meant to be a fun experiment. What we're going to be trying to do is install the ARM-based release of Windows 11 inside of a virtual machine by using Parallels Desktop, because obviously this thing can't run the x86-64 release since, well, it's got an iPhone processor inside of it. And that's really what made me curious about doing this whole thing. I've been using an Apple Silicon Mac since 2021. And I've never tried to mess around with Windows virtualization on it. So this video is really going to explore how well that Windows is able to run on Apple's lowest price laptop, and how good that Microsoft's Prism emulation layer is for running traditional Windows programs. Now, the reason I'm using Parallels is because, according to their website, this is a Microsoft authorized solution, so I imagine that the compatibility is going to be a little bit better. They also just updated it, so the MacBook Neo's processor is now on the official supported list. However, they do note a couple of important things, which basically all add up to you're not going to get the best experience running Windows on this thing, because the Neo's 8GB of RAM is really going to limit the performance of the VM. I'm actually really curious to see how much it lets us allocate to it in the first place. And since this laptop does not have a fan, whenever the CPU gets too hot, it will lower its clock speed. So it's going to be interesting to see how this thing handles what we're going to throw at it, especially when we start trying to launch some games, which of course we're going to be doing later on towards the end of this video. And just to be clear, Parallels is not the only way to do this. There are other solutions like UTM, which is free. Parallels does do an annoying subscription thing. They've got multiple versions of it. They do have a one-time purchase option for the standard edition, but as you can see, this is quite a limited version that limits you to 8GB of memory allocated to the VM, only 4 vCPUs. The Pro edition, which is what we're going to be using today, does have a lot more capabilities. And the standard edition one-time purchase is certainly a lot more than free. So I've already installed Parallels Desktop on my MacBook Neo here, so we're just gonna start it up. And I guess with this being like a Microsoft certified solution or whatever, they have just built in a Windows 11 downloader to this thing, so that's kind of nice. You can just click on other options though, and you've got other systems down here. You can download Ubuntu Linux or Fedora. They even have Mac OS in here, so you could download a copy of that. But we're just gonna click on Get Windows 11 from Microsoft and install Windows, and then it just, I guess, makes the, starting download. There you go. So it opens up Windows 11 here. I guess that's it downloading in the background. Is it going to install for it? Yeah, installation will start automatically. I wonder if it's going to be an unattended setup or if we'll have to just go through it normally, but we've only got a couple minutes here, so we'll find out pretty soon. And there we go, it just started up the VM. We have a little pop-up down here that just says this process usually takes 5 to 15 minutes. It looks like it is going to be entirely automated, because it didn't ask me about like what drive do you want to install this on or anything like that. It also has not given me any option to specify how much RAM that I want allocated to the virtual machine, or what I want the virtual hard disk size to be. So I'm guessing it just, populated that with some default values that hopefully are fine. I personally don't think it's going to let us allocate more than 4 gigs of RAM to the virtual machine, which is Windows 11's minimum requirement. So yeah, if that's the case, I think this is going to not be super fun, but we'll see. I mean, we'll see what the options are once we get it installed, but I guess we're just going to let it do its thing. Okay, so from what I saw, it did go through like the out-of-box experience and just bypass the whole Microsoft account sign-in thing. So I guess here's another way you can install Windows 11 without having to sign in with a Microsoft account, unless it's going to have us do that now. Because here we have to agree to the license terms, so we'll accept those. And yeah, Windows 11 installed successfully. We're here on the desktop, and it, of course, tells us to activate it, which we're totally going to do. We have a Mac files folder on the desktop. It did come up and prompt me to allow access to network devices, so that looks like what we've got here. So we have my home folder, we've got desktop, we've got, like, let me go into downloads here, and here is the ISO that Parallels downloaded for us. And then here's the DMG that I downloaded for Parallels. I also see this File Explorer icon down here in the dock, as well as Microsoft Edge. So it looks like it is displaying opened Windows applications here in the dock on the host system, which is pretty nice. And that reminds me of Microsoft Virtual PC, that video I did on that super old version recently. It also did that, so it's kind of nice to see that that's still a thing in modern virtualization software as well. I actually want to go into the settings application because I am curious to see like what it named our user account. Okay, it just called it Michael, so it pulled that from my Parallels account. And yeah, it made a local account, so it did not have a sign in with a Microsoft account. That is pretty nice. Let's go down to System and just see what we've got for the hardware. So we'll go to About. 256 gigs of storage, which is the total storage, obviously, on the MacBook Neo. You see it says 103 gigs of 256 gigs used. There's no way all of that is Windows, so it has kind of some shared drive thing going on. I mean, yeah, you can see here in the macOS settings program, it's the same, well, I mean, almost the same. No dedicated VRAM, and yes, I was right. It allocated 4 gigs of RAM to the system, and it recognizes the processor as an Apple Silicon CPU. But it looks like it's only recognized 2 cores. It just shows up as 2 processors here. We can go into Device Manager and just kind of see what shows up there. But the A18 in this laptop has 6 cores technically, though 2 of them are the high performance ones, and then it has 4 like energy efficient cores. Yeah, it just shows 2 Apple Silicon CPUs. So yeah, it's only utilizing 2 of those cores. I would assume those are the high performance ones. I actually want to power this thing off and go into the VM settings and see if it lets us allocate more RAM, and see if we get any like processor settings in there too. Maybe we can have it utilize more of the cores. Okay, here we go. So we can change the name of it, and then we can go over to hardware. And here you go, CPU and memory. So it has an automatic thing specified, but we can go to manual, and we can change it to 4 and do the memory. Yeah, 4 gigs. Okay, well, can we do other? Can we go higher than that? We cannot go higher. Oh, wait a minute. Are you sure you want to change the amount of memory available to the guest OS? For best performance, set available memory to be within the recommended of 512 megabytes to 4096 megabytes. Allocating memory outside of this range can slow down both the guest OS and your Mac. Okay, so I guess we'll keep it at 4 gigs for now. We can maybe try some experimenting with that later on. But I definitely want, yeah, I mean, the processors lets us go to 4, so why don't we just do that? And then what do we got for graphics? So, best for Retina display, high-res, high DPI graphics, most apps look sharp and clear. That's probably what we want that on. Mouse and keyboard, yeah, I mean, we'll leave that at the default, not really anything that we got to change here. And hard disk. So, it looks like it did, yeah, harddisk.hdd, so it made an image file, but I guess that image file can utilize as much of the host hard drive that it wants to. And then you can change the boot order from here too. So yeah, let's go ahead and close out of this and just power it back on. Oh, and one quick thing to mention, if you noticed before there was a buy button up there at the top right of the window, that's because I had not yet activated this copy of Parallels with my license key. I've done that now, so you can see it's gone. I was utilizing a trial before. There is a 14-day trial period for this thing, so you can kind of, you know, explore it a little bit and see if it's something that you want to actually purchase. I still don't like how they limit you in the base version, so we are using the Pro version here. Not that we can really take advantage of any of those additional hardware allocation features anyway on the MacBook Neo, but yeah, so what we're going to do from this point is just install a couple of Windows programs and see how the ARM version of Windows 11 handles it. We're going to start with a really easy one, and that is going to be Firefox. There is an ARM-based version of Firefox for Windows, which it should just automatically select for us here. But yeah, this is the only ARM application that I'm going to install because I know that you guys are probably expecting me to throw some nonsense at this, which yes, we are going to throw some nonsense at this. We got Half-Life. Not that that's nonsense, but you kind of get what I'm saying. We've got Microsoft Office 2010, we've got an AOL dial-up CD, and we have a Windows 98 starts here guide thing. All things you would never need to run on an ARM-based version of Windows 11, but we're going to try it anyway and see how well that the Prism emulation layer can handle, you know, running older programs like this. So yeah, here's Firefox. I mainly wanted to install this so that we can stop using Edge, so we will just close out of this and unpin it from the taskbar. I just noticed it has not loaded the Firefox icon yet. Let's refresh the desktop and see if we can fix that. Wait, why is it not? It's got the icon down here in the dock, but it doesn't have it down in the taskbar or on the desktop. This is probably a cache thing. Like, I'm sure if we get rid of this and just go back in. Oh, interesting. So when you move something to the recycle bin, it comes up with a prompt on macOS and says you're about to delete Firefox from your Mac. It is stored in the desktop folder with Windows shares with the Mac. Well, we'll say move to trash. So does it, like, really? Like, if you make something on the desktop here, it will share that with Windows? Wow, okay, I like just noticed that. That's kind of neat. So it shares your desktop with the Windows VM, and then if you delete something from here, and then, you know, it'll prompt you on the host system to move it to trash, and then there it's gone. So, okay, interesting. So does that mean that if we pin Firefox to the desktop, I wonder if that's maybe why the icon was kind of messing up before. So there we go. Now we got the icon, and then there it is on our host system. Anyways, let me not get super sidetracked here. So of course, if we're going to try to use all this software, we are going to need a USB disk drive because the MacBook Neo certainly doesn't have one. And it comes up with a prompt here. We want to connect this to Windows 11. Yes, we'll allow it. And then I guess that's all we have to do. By the way, I did see up here under Actions, it has reinstall parallel tool, so I'm assuming it's done this already? I mean, I'm sure this is how we're taking advantage of, like, the desktop sharing and all of that, but let's see, it does mention dynamic screen resolution, so let's see if I resize the window. Will it automatically resize the screen? Yes, it does, so we already have that installed. I just didn't see it go through that process, so it must have done that just, you know, in the background while it was installing the OS. But anyways, so let's hop into File Explorer and go to this PC. And I think we're going to start things off with Office 2010 because this seems kind of like the most reasonable of these four things that you may actually want to install on Windows 11 if you don't, you know, subscribe to Office 365 for whatever they're charging for that nowadays. So we'll pop this into the drive. Okay, user account control comes up. We'll say yes. And yeah, it starts right up and asks us for the product key. So I'm guessing that we don't have to, like, right-click on the exe and go to properties and compatibility and change a bunch of settings in there like you have to do with some of the third-party compatibility layers that we've explored on this channel before. It looks like it's taken care of all that just in the background. And so far, so good. The drive is spinning along and we're going through the install process here. I am curious, I mean, now that I mentioned it, what happens if we go into here and right-click on the setup executable and go into properties? Do we have anything under compatibility? Or is this all just done automatically in the background? Ah, here we go. Windows on ARM. Change emulation settings. So there are some things in here that we can change if we run into problems with getting the application to launch. But in this case, it opened up totally fine. So let's hope that's a trend that continues throughout this video. Well, we're done and everything installed successfully, so we got all the Office programs here. Let's go ahead and just launch Word 2010, because why the heck not? Oh my gosh, that is a really small startup splash screen there for some reason. I don't think it's that small normally, but anyways, yeah, we got the activation wizard. Can we cancel out of this and just don't make changes and hit OK? And yeah, I mean, here we are. So we can type, we can zoom in a little bit here. And yeah, I'm curious what the deal is with the splash screen. I'm guessing that's just kind of the way that it is when it's running through this emulation layer. But like, yeah, that's a real tiny little splash screen. It's normally larger than that from what I remember anyways. The program itself works totally fine. And I'm sure that's going to be the same story with all of these other Office applications. So we could open up Publisher, and here's Publisher. Gosh, it's been such a long time since I've used this. But yeah, so you can just make a blank 8x5 and do your publishing things that you do in Microsoft Publisher. So, of course, Microsoft Office is not the most exciting program in the world, but you can install a 16-year-old version of it on Windows 11 if you so desired, because yeah, 2010 was 16 years ago. Gosh, time is such a weird thing. Anyway, so why don't we try out the AOL dial-up CD? I did a video on this back when AOL dial-up shut down at the end of last year. This just contains the dialer application as well as their custom web browser. So we'll see if we can get that to work on here. Of course, the dial-up stuff isn't going to work anymore, but we can just, launch the application at least and see if that works. We will run install.exe. And that's right, this should also have AOL Desktop Gold on it, which I also made a video on last year. And then what is this Launch PC Tune webpage? Learn more about how you scan your computer for viruses and other performance issues absolutely free. Yeah, sure AOL, why not? We'll agree and install. And it brings up an AOL page here in Edge, because I did not actually set Firefox as the default browser. But I guess that installed. We don't have AOL Desktop on the desktop, but we've got this PC Tune thing. Is this just a shortcut? I think it is. And yeah, it just brings up the same page that we had before, so this is just like a tech support thing that we're not going to bother actually using. But let's see if it got AOL Desktop on here. No, it did not. Maybe we don't have AOL Desktop Gold on here. I mean, we've got the dialer and we have, this is the Shield web browser, so why don't we try to install the dialer? Okay, I think I'm right about the sizing on some of this stuff, by the way, because these buttons are way smaller than they were in my in my video demoing this. So there's definitely some sizing stuff going on with the Prism emulation layer. But if that's the only problem, I mean, that's totally manageable. So yeah, the dialer program launches. Let's see the Shield web browser. Well, here it is. This just, as a little refresher, has an old version of Firefox as a base, and it's just, yeah, it's just an AOL custom branded browser. You see they got shortcuts to mail and stuff here. So yeah, you were kind of meant to use this with like an older computer that you would probably be using with AOL's dial-up subscription back when that was still a thing. So yeah, both of those work. We are on a good streak so far, so why don't we eject this and move on to another essential application here, the Windows 98 Start Here guide thing. I actually don't know what this is. I don't think I've taken a look at this before. We'll go here and run the auto run, and there we go. Windows 98 starts here. It's not set up to run on this machine. Would you like to run setup now? Yes, we do. Error code 193. Okay, so that's our first error. Although here's the thing, if this is a 16-bit Windows program, it's not even going to be able to work under just regular x86 64 Windows 11, because that compatibility layer is not in 64-bit versions of Windows, so you have to download like a third-party thing. Alright, so here's the exe. So let's just try to run it again. This app can't run on your PC. Okay, so this is probably a 16-bit application. You know, I wonder, what if we use OTVDM, which is also known as Wind VDM? I've demonstrated this in a few videos on the channel, though it's been a long time. Basically, this is a 16-bit like compatibility layer for 64-bit Windows. So that means that we'll be going through two compatibility layers, but maybe it'll work. Who knows? So let's download it here, and we'll extract everything. Let me go back into the disk here, and then find setup.exe, and we want to drag that onto OTVDM. And we need the VC runtime, of course. Okay, so a little searching around reveals that apparently we need to have the Microsoft Visual C++ 2017 redistributable, and we need the 32-bit version of it. So let's grab that and see if that fixes our problem. Oh my gosh, look. Okay, so once again with the sizing, yeah, that's hilarious. You read the license terms? Yeah, good luck with that. I guess if you want to copy and paste them into Notepad. So we'll install that. Now let's go back here and see if that is actually all it takes. So we'll open with OTVDM. Hey, there we go! Look at that! So yeah, we're going through 2 emulation layers right now. Of course, nothing, you know, real groundbreaking on this channel. We'll accept the license terms. All the sizing here seems to be fine. So here is the Windows 98 starts here. How to turn on the... Oh, this relies on active desktop? Well, then we can't use this at all, because active desktop isn't a thing anymore. So we've got some things here. We'll go to introducing Windows 98. Let's click on working with files. How do you open a file? A script error, really? That's how you open a file? Yeah, so is all this just gonna give us script errors? Yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right. But hey, we got the program to launch. So that's pretty cool. Can we get anything to view in here? I mean, we can get like the main category description to show up, but everything else just is going to do that. So yeah, this is probably the active desktop stuff. I mean, it is trying to read an HTML file and then it's just not working. But we got the main program to launch, so that's pretty freaking cool. We'll close out of that, and I guess it's finally time for Half-Life. So let's pop this in and see if we can get that running on here. Oh yeah, that's right. The installer is a 16-bit application, so that's not going to be able to start on here. I do have that like pre-installed copy of the game that is just on a CD that I can just copy the whole directory over to the hard drive. But let's see if we can use OTVDM, because I don't think I've actually done this before. Trying to run the Half-Life setup with OTVDM. So let's drag that onto here. And there we go. It looks like it's working. It's playing the WAV file. Okay. Exciting stuff. I know you guys have only seen this like 40 million times on this channel, but hey, I don't think it gets old personally. I mean, I am a huge Half-Life fan if you guys haven't discovered that by now, but yeah, you know, it's nice just to kind of have a you know, routine that we do on these goofy setups that I end up getting myself into in these videos. Well, it's loading up here just in the corner of the screen, and it looks like Parallels is detecting that I am in a game, I guess, when you mouse over this, or at least, well, for that thing it did, because it came up and told us how to free the cursor. I think there is a setting where when it detects, like, if it detects that you're in a game, it will lock the cursor so it doesn't, like, come out of the virtual machine, because that's what it does right now, you know, just like in VMware and VirtualBox, and like every other VM software does this when you have, like, the tools installed. So I guess there's a setting to stop that from happening automatically, which is nice. So we'll go ahead and just start a new game here. And okay, I thought it crashed for a second. Okay. Well, we can't see anything. That's unfortunate. I mean, we can hit escape and obviously get to the menu, but I am moving around because I can hear the sound, like, shifting, you know, as I'm moving. Let me try to go into configuration here and go to video modes. Well, software, we got nothing, so that's great. Let's try Direct 3D, and of course it'll bring up the frickin' web browser. But yeah, I don't see any modes in there either. Okay, and now it just actually made that full screen. So do we just not have any video modes? I mean, we have OpenGL, but I mean, is that why, like, oh, okay, and then we just, yeah, that was kind of weird. So it, like, made the menu full screen, and then now it's just back in the little window here. But I'm guessing it just, because it doesn't have a video display mode for software, it just doesn't display anything. Let's try Direct 3D and just see if there's some, like, default one. Okay, yeah, selected D3D mode is not supported because we didn't even select one because there wasn't anything in there. So does that mean OpenGL is all we got? Let's try 640 by 480. Will this even work? Alright, well that just gets us to a loading screen, and I've let it sit here for a little bit, and it's not really getting past this. So, I wonder if, like, we go into Actions Configure, where you can change, like, the mode that it's in. So right now it's at Productivity, and I believe there was a gaming one. So we can try to, why don't we just quit out of this and turn off the VM, since we have to do that to change some of those settings in there. Yeah, games only. Full screen 3D games with high demand for resources. We definitely want to have it configured for that. Entered full screen for games. That's fine. It has not auto-resized the resolution for the VM though. It wants access to removable volumes, sure. So the menu still opens up in the corner here, but I'm curious if, like, maybe now it has some video modes. No, we still don't have video modes for software or Direct 3D. Again, we only have OpenGL as, like, a thing that displays video modes. And also, I did 640 by 40. We could try 320 by 240, but let's do 640 by 480 again. And, oh, that worked. Check that out. All right, OpenGL saves the day. Let me see if we can increase that. Now that we know that works, we can probably select like 1280 by 960 and get this thing taking up the whole screen. There we go. Look at that. So we got it. Half-Life works, and it is totally at a wonderful frame rate. I mean, that is working, no slowdowns or anything like that. That's awesome. So I guess we'll just do kind of the classic, let the tram go, and I'll come back once we're at the test labs, and we'll kind of mess around for a little bit. Well, we're back once again. And yeah, I gotta say, frame rate is, well, probably not surprisingly, totally fine. The loading screens are practically non-existent there. I mean, you saw how quickly that one went by. And yeah, I mean, we're able to move around here. Well, yeah, so if you were wondering if you could play the original Half-Life, like, from the I mean, this isn't the original copy, this is the Game of the Year edition, but, I mean, close enough, right? If you could play the original Half-Life from the CD on Windows 11 running on the MacBook Neo. It's possible. I guess it's good that we know that now. So, we're going to go ahead and switch over to trying some modern gaming now, if I can actually get out of the game. I think we're supposed to see the menu right now, but we don't actually see that. That's kind of funny. Oh, there we go. It just took like a while, but the menu came up. So yeah, we're just gonna save or quit without saving. And yeah, let me go to Firefox here. We'll go and grab Steam, and we'll quickly get this installed. And I've decided on trying out two games here. We've got Rocket League and Halo the Master Chief Collection. Not the most recent games in my Steam library, but I didn't want to choose anything that was going to be like over 100 gigabytes in size and take up the rest of the free space we have on this computer. So I guess we'll start with Rocket League, and let's see how well it runs if it doesn't like immediately crash, which... yeah, it looks like it's loading up into the menu here. I have a feeling that the MacBook Neo should be able to run this game pretty decently. Before we launch into a match, though, I want to take a quick look at the video settings here and see what it has defaulted to. And as I'm looking at this, I'm wondering if it's maybe pulling these settings from my main Windows system, you know, what I have the settings on that computer set to when I play Rocket League. Although the resolution here has changed to a 1280 by 800, which is the current VM resolution. So why don't we just leave everything at these settings? We'll go into a match, see how it works, and then if it's like really laggy, we'll come in here and turn some stuff down. All right, I just hopped into free play here, and I'm glad I did, because already, I mean, you kind of saw when we started off there, it definitely lagged a little bit, and it looks like that we're having some rendering problems. Like, is it when I jump, or what was... there was like that black flashingness going on. You see, like, yeah, like when you get close to the ball here, you can kind of see like the screen kind of goes a little bit darker. Yeah, but I think the frame rate, I mean, it's like, It seems to be fine most of the time, but there are definitely some, like, speed ups and slowdowns going on. But it's definitely not the worst. I mean, overall, I think it's running pretty decently. I did see in settings here, if we go into video, there is this default button. Why don't we click that and revert everything back to its defaults? Okay, that turned anti-aliasing off, render quality high quality, render detail custom, frames per second 60, okay. It's got texture detail high, world detail high, particle detail high, effect intensity default. It has all of these checked. So we're still not at the lowest settings. Okay, so we still have that going on. I honestly don't notice much of a difference at all. And, you know, again, we're just in free play here, so this is without having other players in the match and them moving around. So why don't we go and lower everything down to, like, let's turn this on high performance, render detail performance, and that'll uncheck all of those. Okay, well, not surprisingly, that does lower the quality of everything, but it seems to have gotten rid of whatever that display glitchiness that we had going on when I got close to the ball. So that's good. And this seems totally fine. Yeah, like I'm not really noticing any slowdowns or anything. This is definitely playable for sure. Now, Halo's going to be interesting. First of all, this is probably going to have to install like some stupid Xbox Live services or whatever, and, you know, have me sign into my Xbox profile, and it's all very annoying. ARM64 CPU is not supported. Okay, so is this not going through the compatibility layer through Microsoft Prism? Okay, I've been messing around with these settings. However, I did do a little bit of research and I discovered that apparently if you disable anti-cheats, that may allow the game to launch. So if we just launch it here from Steam, we can click on Play Halo MCC Anti-Cheat Disabled, and let's see what that does for us. Okay, well that's already gotten us a lot farther than than what we had going on before. Well, here we are. It's honestly not too bad. I mean, just moving around here. Well, okay, maybe we've got a little bit of lag going on. Let's try to discharge some rounds here. I mean, the animations seem to be pretty good. It's definitely not the worst Halo experience that I've had. Okay, there was a pretty major, like, lag spike there. But overall, I have to say it is pretty decent. Especially, I mean, we're running this on a Mac. Like, that's just freaking cool. So that's already just making this a really neat experience for me. But yeah, I mean, you can see that I can move around here. It's mostly fine. But let's go into the settings and let's see what it's got for video. It's got quality set to original, window mode borderless, yeah. And then here's the graphics quality settings. So I still wonder if it's pulling some of this stuff from my main computer, like if those game settings sync over Steam Cloud or whatever. But let's just turn off anti-aliasing. And we can actually just set the whole graphics quality to performance. Let's put it on performance. And we'll save those and then go back here. And let's see what that does. So a little bit of a lag spike there. I mean, here's the game running, guys. Halo the Master Chief Collection. Of course, we are just in Forge. We're not in like a multiplayer game with a bunch of other people running around. And from what I looked at, I don't really think that that's possible right now. I guess that the, you know, anti-cheat thing doesn't like, you know, you going through the Prism compatibility layer, and it's able to detect that, and then it just, you know, says that the game isn't compatible because of that. But you can still run the game. You can still go into Forge. You can go into like a single player, you know, campaign. Overall, pretty decent performance, I have to say. But there you have it, guys. That is running Windows 11 on the MacBook Neo and doing a bunch of stuff that you would really never have to do on a MacBook Neo running Windows. But hey, it's pretty cool to see that I think everything we tried worked, even if some stuff like the, Windows 98 guide was broken a little bit, but that's not really having anything to do with the compatibility layer. That's just because Windows 11 doesn't have active desktop. Overall, I think this was a really cool experiment, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, definitely be sure to give this video a thumbs up, get subscribed, maybe consider becoming a patron or a channel member to get early access to these videos before anybody else. But either way, I just want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.